Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 107 is brought to you by Agatha, one of our newest Patreon patrons and Elite 4 member. Just kidding. Today, Sergio and I are going to talk about the latest artwork for Haken, Imagine a World where Animal Crossing came out on the Wii U, and end the show with some predictions regarding an Animal Crossing Direct. So to begin, hello Sergio, how are you doing?
Hi Chewy, I'm doing great. It is now December. Like I said, we're closer and closer to more info, New Horizons, and to the end of this year and this decade.
Yeah, this is a big month. It is the final month. It's closing out a lot of things, not only the year this year, but also the decade. You're totally right.
Yeah.
And we've got some fun ideas for the show the rest of this year. So we're hoping you all enjoy these. But this one, Sergio, you came up with a really great one as far as like imagining a world with an Animal Crossing game on the Wii U that, because we never got one. There's not a single Animal Crossing game on the Wii U. Yeah, that's just a fact of life. But before we get too far, you also mentioned that it's December now, which means we have some new Haken artwork to show off. Mm-hmm. And if you're watching this on YouTube, if you clicked on this on your podcast app of choice, you probably noticed it. Except I did hear some people's have not been updating lately. It's strange. I don't know why that is an issue. I kind of had it myself, but you can check out this art on the YouTube if you haven't seen it on the podcast, your podcast platforms. But this one was by Morgan O'Brien, and this piece is mostly his idea, his creation that he thought of, and he actually approached me. He's a listener of the show, and this was a while ago too, but he approached me and he mentioned that he did art, and I do check out everybody's art when they do mention it. Mm-hmm. And if I haven't gotten back to you recently, it's because I've been very busy talking with the artist that I'd already been talking with to do the final pieces for this calendar, so I apologize for that, but I will get back to you eventually. So anyways, so this piece was a lot of his ideas came into this one. I simply provided a couple characters, which you'll see Carrie right up front, the kangaroo. I've always really liked her. And then Claude in the back there. He's got kind of a Charlie Brown curl, and I thought, perfect. They both have birthdays in December as well, so nice. Mm-hmm. I thought they would capture that. But as far as the villagers, they're no one specific. There's a female villager in the back pushing a snowball, and this villager in the front here, a male villager, giving a present to Carrie. Yeah. And then up in a blimp or air balloon, you see Jingle, of course, delivering presents to all the good little boys and girls of Animal Crossing. But yeah, this was all his idea. I've actually got some notes from him. But before I get to those, Sergio, what are you thinking about this piece? How do you feel?
Oh, it's so good. Like, it captures winter. It captures Christmas, the holiday spirit and the holiday days. And just, it's really nice. It reminds me of winter in Animal Crossing. This is all there is, and this is awesome.
Yeah. Okay, there's one thing that I'm gonna need in this new game, but the path that goes like toward that house, I love that it's like kind of snow covered. There's a nice little berm that's created to show that like people have worn down through the snow a bit to create a path to walk through, and I need that. I need to be able to do that in my Animal Crossing game. Like maybe we get big blizzards or something, and then you're pushing through the snow and creating little paths. So right. I would love that. But yeah, it definitely captures that. So here are some notes from Morgan and what he had to say about this piece. And this is from him. So he said, "Really had so much fun with this. Carrie was an inspired choice and the heart of the piece, I feel. Couple of extra details I've included are below. The snowmen represent family. The girl in the background is starting the final one. Claude is approaching her with a cup of hot chocolate. The light of the house is on to represent all are welcome. The boy in the foreground features a darker skin tone, which I'm delighted to see is making its debut in Animal Crossing New Horizons. He's presenting a gift to Carrie's little Joey. A reminder of the wonder of Christmas for kids and the importance of keeping it a season of giving. He has a backpack and he's traveling from afar for the holidays. It's kind of a mixture of elements from all the Animal Crossing games, not one in particular. Hope you like it as much as I do and that it captures the sense of magic and wonder you were hoping for. Warm wishes, send my best to Sergio and Jackie. So, of course, he says hello.
Hi, Morgan. Thank you. Oh, it's so good. And so many good points that you might overlook, but it's so perfect. It ties it all together.
Yeah, and I really love it. I love that every little detail has some sort of meaning behind it, you know, and it just shows how much of an effect or how much Animal Crossing can really feel like life in that sense, you know? Because I'm excited to just be able to mail letters to my villagers with presents in them and see if they put it in their house, you know? So I think it's really cool. I really and I really love the mention of being able to choose our skin tones. That's something that's really important to me. I always like making mine a little bit darker, you know, and just to match me a little more than previous Animal Crossing avatars have matched me in the past, you know? So yeah, I really appreciate that. And yeah, overall, it's really magical. I love the sunset in the back. It's got my favorite tree, the cedar trees. That's always going to be. Yeah. And also, you know, I will say, I don't talk about this too much, but the holly bushes are some of my favorites too. And you can see one on the left right in front of the snow people there. So it's really nice to see them just capturing everything that winter feels like in Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Yeah. And because, you know, it does, unfortunately, in some games, start to look a little bit bland and everything. But I'm with the lighting and all of the new HD assets of New Horizons, it's going to be a beautiful season to play Animal Crossing in.
Yes, and I hope that the art piece shows, there's gonna be still some grass in your town, and it's not all gonna be covered by snow. If they do that, which I really hope they do, that's gonna look even better.
Yeah, that would be really great too. You know, it would just show that you're wearing through the snow and then getting a little bit of grass to peek out underneath, you know? Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, like I said, everybody, this piece was by Morgan O'Brien. They've done some great work. You can find them on Twitter at Morgan O'Brien Art and on Instagram, also Morgan O'Brien Art. And I'll have links in the description so you can follow them. I've followed them and you can see his cute little family. I kept this one personal because he did send me some great emails. I really love talking with the guy, but you know, he'd give me updates on his family, let me know what they were up to. And you know, his kids are playing Animal Crossing too. And that's just that's the dream right there. Having a family of Animal Crossing players. I know some of our listeners are parents and everything, and I really appreciate that they're as excited to show the game to their kids as they are to play it. You know, it's a huge deal. And just to have some other way to connect with your family. And, you know, it gives them a bit of freedom to do their thing. But at the same time, you live in the same town. It's kind of how a lot of families end up being, you know, they live near each other. They come and visit and hang out. And meanwhile, you get your own place to do whatever you want. So yeah, I really appreciated my emails with him. And yeah, I hope you all check out his artwork. It's really great. I just retweeted one with a KK slider kind of piece that he did. And I was hoping you would see it, Sergio. I retweeted it earlier today, but you might have been busy. And a Score Bunny one, actually. So I retweeted both of those for you, Sergio, because you love Score Bunny, you love KK Slider. Those are your number 2 and 1 for you right now.
Yes.
I was which order did I say them in? KK's always number 1. I know that. Score Bunny's probably your number 2 right now.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Morgan O'Brien Art. Check him out on Twitter, Instagram. I think he has a website too, morganobrienart.com. Yeah, so he's a really nice person, really makes incredible stuff. So I want you all to enjoy what he's putting out there.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, everybody. So we're going to move into our main topics for the podcast. And this first one is going to be pretty fun. Sergio and I are going to imagine a world with Animal Crossing on the Wii U, which once again has never happened. There is no Animal Crossing on the Wii U, as you all know. Not a non-existent. But Sergio, I tell me about this idea, because you definitely came up with it.
Well, in a way I did, but I was inspired by your latest video where you covered everything that happened in this decade in terms of Animal Crossing. And, it kind of made me realize, I mean, what if there had been an Animal Crossing mainline game for the Wii U instead of just Amiibo Festival, which does not exist, like you mentioned? I mean, it's a thing, but it doesn't exist at the same time, which is pretty interesting. So it got me thinking, what if there had been an Animal Crossing on the Wii U, a mainline game, what it would have been, what it should have been, and if you want me to, I can start on what I think it could have been.
Yeah, definitely. Go for it.
So I feel like if there had been a mainline Animal Crossing game on the Wii U, it probably would have come out around 2016, which would have been 3 years since the release of New Leaf on the 3DS in North America and in Europe. I feel like that's a good sort of middle ground for it. And honestly, all things considered, I think it wouldn't have been like a brand new Animal Crossing game. It probably would have been like an expansion to New Leaf, something like a New Leaf Plus. In fact, I feel like the features that we got in the Welcome Amiibo update, they would have been part of this New Leaf Plus. In the 3DS, New Leaf wouldn't have gotten those features. They would have saved them for the Wii U game. I feel like it would have been nice to expect, HD graphics. It probably would have been 16 frames per second. They could have maybe added 2 more villagers in your town, so you could have had up to 12. Maybe the town would be a little bit bigger, not too much, but maybe at least a little bit, at least to add room for those 2 additional villagers, and as well as faster loading times and a better, more stable online connection. Because I feel like those are some issues that New Leaf had a little bit. They were in game breakers, but people did have those issues when they played in multiplayer. I feel like the Wii U would have fixed that.
Yeah, and I also want to say, like, the Wii U also had kind of USB ports, so you could connect through a wired connection too. So,
oh, yes.
I mean, it's not the most necessary thing with Animal Crossing, but when it gets to the point when you're getting that little reset-y screen where you've been disconnected, it's a bummer. It kind of cuts the whole thing off, especially because, like, getting 4 people into your town, you have to go through this animation 3 times. And it's definitely like a loading screen that's hiding,
Yeah.
But it's still like you have to do every single one of them individually. And then once you finally have your 4 people off and you play for like 30 seconds and it cuts off, that's when you're just like annoyed at the amount of time it takes to play online,
Yeah, and once everything is going well and everyone is in town, you're going to be too busy playing or chatting with each other to save. And when you get the Mr. Resetti and everyone lost their progress or whatever items they borrowed or got or bought, it's all over. It's gone. It's back to normal. And it's a bummer, like I said.
Yeah, you're totally right, because I remember playing with a friend who's been on the show before, Connor. He was on episode 3, but Connor, he came over to my town and we were just swapping some items, right? And I think he came over about 3 times and we got disconnected 3 times after swapping items. And then as soon as we swapped on that like 4th one, we should have done this sooner, but as soon as we swapped, I saved. And then I was like, all right, we're good. We can explore. And we'll still have what we were trading,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's inconvenient, and I'm hoping they do fix that for sure.
Oh, yeah. I feel like they will. And if there had been a mainline game on the Wii U, I feel like that would have been not something they would talk about because they don't want to mention the issues that New Leaf had, but it would have been fixed for sure. Um,
Hmm.
as far as Happy Home Designer, I feel like it would have still come out on the 3DS, and it would have been a separate game, the first spin-off to the series, and the features that they added in Happy Home Designer, especially for item placement using the touchscreen and everything, that would have been done on the Wii U gamepad. Even the
Mm.
menus, it would have all been on the gamepad, which would have been very nice to see, I think. Um, I also feel like Amiibo Festival would have been just a mini game in this New Leaf Plus, if you will. And since it's a plus to an existing game, I feel like Nintendo probably would have put the game out at $40 in the equivalent around the world instead of. I don't think it would have been a full price game, even though we would have gladly paid for all that.
Yeah, immediately. I'd pay. I mean, 60 is already a low price compared to what I probably would pay if
Yeah.
they asked for it, you know? Yeah, okay. So, one thing I really like that you mentioned here is kind of what was it? About Happy Home Designer still coming out on the
Yes.
3DS. I. And we'll get to my timeline of how these events will play out, but I really wonder. I guess my question is like, would we have gotten as many spin off titles as we did if Nintendo just opted to create another mainline game versus like going the direction they have gone, Because, like you said, this was based on my video that I made. And just like looking back at the decade, I was like, man, like we didn't get too many like mainline Animal Crossing games. And by that, we didn't even get two, we got one,
Yeah.
you know? And so like it's a very interesting timeline where this game is moving away, not away from mainline games, but more toward also putting out spin-off titles like because we have games like Pokemon and Mario who like they put out spin-off titles so much of the year. So many years are dedicated
Mm.
to them.
Mhm.
Like, if we think of the Switch even now and think of all the Mario games that are on there, we've got Mario Kart, we've got Mario Tennis, we've got Mario Party, we've got Mario Odyssey. Like, there are so many Mario games on there, and one of them is like a new mainline game. So,
Yeah. Hmm.
and I don't know. I think it's cool. I think it would still be cool to see spin-offs. So I do like that your timeline includes that Happy Home Designer, still a thing. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like, the timing, a new Animal Crossing game in 2016 would have been really nice. A lot of us got enough of New Leaf in about the 2 year mark, so around 2015. And I feel like it would have been really nice to have at least a refresher experience in 2016, like another town, a reason to start over, if you will, with a couple of new features maybe. I don't think they would have added too many. I think Happy Home Designer would have come out in Amiibo Festival, wouldn't have. It would have been part
Hmm.
of this New Leaf Plus, but also the timing would have worked really nice for Pocket Camp, which would have come out in 2017, like it did. Like getting a new Animal Crossing game a year before the mobile game, I think that would have worked. They could have tied them well.
Yeah, that's a good direction to go. So what are you thinking? Like still Happy Home Designer 2015, followed by whatever Animal Crossing Wii U would be called, and then Pocket Camp.
Yes, so an Animal Crossing game every year. That would have
I
been really nice.
I mean, I'm down. I just sure go for it. Give me more Animal Crossing. Like, and I mentioned in the video too, like it just didn't feel like to fans at least that it was time for spin-offs. It felt like it was time for HD Animal Crossing,
Yes, exactly.
And that was the battle there. But I'm like, yeah, but once New Horizons is out, like don't give up on the spin-offs, like still give me that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I do really want to have like a constant feed now because Animal Crossing is like you play it for years. Like you can play it for years. It's intended to be played for a long period of time.
Mhm.
So a game like that, it doesn't need to come out every year. So when we do see it come out as spin-offs, it just, it gives the not true, I'd say, but like really diehard obsessed fans like us just more content to consume,
Yes,
which is,
yeah.
which is great.
Yep.
Yeah. And I want to see them like play around with everything. Like, as much as hate as Amiibo Festival gets, and as much as we joke that there was no Animal Crossing game on the Wii U, I still think the idea of an Animal Crossing party game is great.
Yes.
I want that. I wish we had it,
Yeah,
and I gotta throw a little jab in there too.
And like on paper, it sounds more feasible to me to have a party game based on Animal Crossing than Mario Party. I mean, Mario Party is established now, but if you ask me which one made more sense to begin with, I would have picked Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Like Mario Party is a very strange concept.
Yeah.
It goes from like, I don't even know what the progression is, but we got Mario 64, totally changed the face of gaming, This is a 3D platformer, never been done before. And then they're like, you know what, let's make a party game. And we're going to be on a board game thing, looking map, and move around. Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it did because I love them. And they're crazy, they do what they need to do.
Yeah.
So Animal Crossing though, like it's very slice of life type of game, where you can do anything. If you find yourself just in your home and some friends are over, sometimes you just start playing a board game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It makes sense. I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah.
Cool. So is that your timeline? Should I go through mine?
Yes, that's what I would have expected and wish it had happened, but let's see what you have.
Okay. So mine, I get specific in mine, and I definitely go a lot of the same directions you do. So this is my different world, where we would have gotten an Animal Crossing on the Wii U, also known as Animal Crossing Coming Home. It would have come out. Yes, I'm sticking to this Coming Home title because I think it's still a really good title. And Nintendo, go ahead, take it. I don't care. It's free of use. You go for it. Just give me credits. Oh man, if I showed up during the KK slider playing songs and my name in the dreams right there. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. This is what I do when I imagine things. Okay, so Animal Crossing Coming Home, it would have come out holiday 2015. And I say that specifically because we had this big E3 2015 presentation where we all expected Animal Crossing news. Everybody was talking about it. Even people who didn't play the game were like, oh yeah, it's time for Animal Crossing to come out on the Wii U. It's been a couple of years since the 3DS game. And everybody was thinking about it. And so going into that, we did get Animal Crossing news. There was Happy Home Designer and Amiibo Festival. In my timeline, it's Animal Crossing Coming Home, and they announced that it's holiday 2015, that year. And this would be similar to, I guess, City Folk was kind of the same way, where it came out shortly after Wild World. And it was mostly because, it's a very similar game to Wild World. And so naturally, this Wii U game would have been a similar game to New Leaf to kind of follow in that trend. But, it just meant it was a faster release date. But it would, of course, be HD, which is, kind of the big thing we've been waiting for with the series. Yes. So outside of that, though, they would change the mode of transportation. And in my timeline, I'm actually going to say there's no Happy Home Designer, there's no Amiibo Festival, and there is this idea of a mobile game, and they want it to connect. So with that in mind, all those ideas they had for Happy Home Designer, all those ideas they had for Amiibo Festival, they're all getting put into this game, and even some of the Pocket Camp ones. So the transportation has changed. We are now traveling in campers to match kind of the Pocket Camp aesthetic, because one is going to be your home console game, and the other is going to be like, this is where you go when you want to get away.
Oh, okay.
So outside of that, I didn't flesh that out too much more, but outside of that, there would be the Happy Home Designer decorating and even a job aspect to it. So they're going to add half increments, rugs, ceiling items, and yards, for example.
Yes.
And they're still gonna, because Happy Home Designer introduced Lottie, they're going to introduce Lottie. And she's gonna actually work beside Nook's homes, and she's gonna hire you to design shops for new shop owners or owners who are upgrading their shops. So you get to at least do some things for the layouts of those shops as they're getting made. So that's my little tie-in there. That was their idea. Amiibo cards would get introduced, Amiibo figures as well. So this is where kind of the welcome Amiibo style campers come in. We'd still get a campsite. I don't think that it's just going to be Harvey working there. I think it would also be Carlo, Beppe, and Giovanni.
Yes.
So we got to get our little crow villagers there.
Yeah.
So the other thing that is different is with the Amiibo cards and figures, every single character has a camper. So one of the biggest disappointments, I guess, because, it was a free update, so it's hard to be disappointed in the Welcome Amiibo update.
Yeah.
But the disappointment that I did have was that the campers were restricted to Amiibo figures that were compatible and the Welcome Amiibo cards. In this one, all of the cards bring a camper. So,
nice.
Yeah, everybody gets a cool space. And this also makes up for the fact that there isn't an Amiibo figure for every special character. So if you get their card, you can still scan them in. Celeste will show up. Well, I guess Celeste has a figure, so that's not a good example. Luna, who runs the Dream Suite, she'll show up. She'll have her own camper, and, you can buy special items from it,
Yes.
Yeah. And then beyond that, they would also take ideas that they had for Amiibo Festival. So welcome New Tortimer Island, where you can go and play games, including this brand new board game mode. And there's a desert island escape because, you're going to an island. There's got to be like a challenging island that you have to escape from there. And then there's also some other Amiibo Festival games. If you've played it, there's some random ones, including like a trivia mode.
Yeah.
And all of this is, of course, going to have online multiplayer. So you can play
nice.
everything with other people on the internet all over the world.
Yes.
Yes. And then from there, they're going to add some other small things like additional public works projects. And here's the one that's going to be, I feel like it's going to be an idea that they implement, but it's not fully fleshed out for them yet. But it is outdoor decorating, and it's going to have some weird limits that are annoying. And mostly the limit is that it's going to be confined to yards. So you're going to walk around your town, you're going to see a villager, and you're going to be able to like decorate their yard. And this will be tied in with kind of the Lottie thing where she can hire you to design shops and stuff. She's going to hire you to design yards. So you can't freely do it. You can only do like probably one a day. And so that way they, slow you down. in the ways Animal Crossing slows you down. And then, essentially you're not going to be able to put items everywhere, but everybody's going to be like, after getting a taste of that, they're going to be like, oh, come on, let me put an item here, Yeah. So that's basically my timeline. It's going to essentially eat all of those ideas from Happy Home Designer and Amiibo Festival, combine those, and then also like have some foresight to think of how to connect it with Pocket Camp in some way. Which is like the camper type of ideas. So travel around in campers, still decorate them, so that would have been my Animal Crossing coming home timeline. What do you think?
It's awesome. I mean, especially if it was holiday 2015 when a lot of people just were wanting more Animal Crossing, something a little bit different. I feel like this is more than what people would have expected. Like you said, when this game would have gotten announced, people would have said, "Oh, this is the City Folk of New Leaf." But the way you designed it, this is much more. It would have been awesome.
Yeah. I think if they're gonna up the game, like they already have so many things made. like you might as well use those next 2 years of development on all brand new stuff, you know?
Yes. Hmm.
I'm sure, and this is something I didn't mention, but I also had the idea of like in Wild World, where you could move your Wild World town into your City Folk game.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
I think that would have probably had a thing. I would have started fresh, of course, because I always got to start a new Animal Crossing game
Yeah,
fresh from the
yeah,
very beginning. So, but yeah, like I think at least my thought with like making a new game that's very based on the previous one, I think for me, I would have hoped that they'd focus on really adding to what was there. And, this is also their chance to fix a lot of things that they're like, oh, that wasn't as great in that
yeah,
game. We can make it better.
yeah,
So yeah, like the island games, I think they were really fun. But, if they really wanted to up it, I think they would. So
yeah. Hmm.
yeah, that's basically what I could think of. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with Animal Crossing. Of course, all of these ideas are just make believe, and that's unfortunately never the timeline we're gonna live in at this point.
Yeah.
But we do have a great timeline coming up. So let's go ahead and move into our next topic, which is Nintendo Direct predictions, and specifically Animal Crossing Direct predictions. So,
Right.
Sergio, I you have been predicting that this upcoming week, I guess we're recording this Sunday, so Wednesday, and
Yes.
tomorrow for all of you listening, Tuesday, but you have been predicting a direct for Animal Crossing, and every week I need to do this. I'm checking in. Is it still happening? Is this a thing?
As far as right now, yes. So tomorrow, which is Wednesday, December 4, 9 a.m. Pacific, I'm hoping it's already been announced by Nintendo so that it is official and not just a rumor. Um, Let us know, I guess, if you can from the future.
Yeah, please. Just leave a comment. You have the power. um, yeah, so, okay. So you're still locked in December 4th, right?
Yes.
9 a.m. Pacific. That's when it's happening. You heard it here first. Unless they already announced it, then you heard it there
Oh, yeah,
first.
yeah.
So, anyways, let's go ahead and go through some of our own predictions for this. And yeah, Sergio, I'm really interested in what you have to say here.
Okay, well, I feel like Nintendo always likes to really focus on how the game is gonna start. They did that with New Leaf as well. So I think we have seen enough of how our island experience is gonna begin, but I feel like Nintendo is still gonna recap. That you're in a new island and you're with two villagers and you get to pick where they live at first. So they're gonna repeat a little bit of that, but maybe we're gonna see a few new things that are going to happen in the beginning of this new experience. But after that, I'm hoping that we see a lot of new things. Whenever they show Animal Crossing on a direct, which could be December, could be anytime before March. So whenever that happens, I feel like a big focus of the direct or the segment of the direct is going to be showing the special characters that we already know. Characters like KK Slider, Isabel, Kicks, the Able Sisters, or Leaf, like the most popular ones that people want to see come back. I think they're gonna show how they're coming back, how their shops are gonna work, or if they are different, how they're gonna be different. They're just gonna highlight those characters. At the same time, I feel like it's the perfect time to show. I was thinking at least one, but now I'm thinking at least two brand new special characters and their shops or their amenities, whatever new features they're bringing to Animal Crossing. I think this is the best time to show it. So at least two, and maybe just two, but that's I think that's more than enough of new features, new special characters. That'll be great. And like you have mentioned before, Nintendo did say they're still gonna show us more details on the multiplayer, and I think like they have to keep up with that word. So whenever they show a direct, I feel like they're gonna focus a little bit on that, especially the 8-player multiplayer, and hopefully there are mini games to go along with that.
Yes, I want minigames so bad. Okay, I love these predictions. I think you're totally spot on with like what they're entering with,
Mhm.
like kind of showing that start of the game. So I guess just so I also tell about mine, and I guess I'm skipping some, but as far as like the direct goes, I think it's definitely going to cover arriving on your island, especially because like
Mm.
we know nothing about Dodo Airlines, and
Right.
all we've really seen is the exterior, the name, and we don't know what it means. So I think showing that kind of intro stuff, capturing a bit of Dodo Airlines and showing that to the players, I think that is definitely something they'll do. And, because there's always like a bit of recap with these directs.
Yes. Mhm.
Because you can't just assume that everybody has seen every single thing so far. So some
Right.
people, maybe this next direct is the first time they're tuning in to hear anything about Animal Crossing. So
Yeah.
everything we already know, like this is still news to them. This is still something that they'll need to know. So
Mhm.
long story short, I just feel like Nintendo would repeat a lot of things. So
Yes, that's right.
yeah, I think you're spot on there. Um, I'm really, I'm also hoping that they confirm like how many villagers will be on your island, because
Yes.
you did mention like, we start with 2 villagers, which is the lowest amount of villagers we've ever started with. I want to say Wild World was 3, right?
Yes. Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
so 2 is bare bones village right here. You are the third villager essentially
Yeah.
in the beginning of this thing. Um, so I feel like it's almost capturing like here is what this town looks like before you actually get there, but surprise, you're here.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I like that too. I think for sure. Um, uh, let's see. You expect that whenever we see New Horizons again, they're going to show off some special characters, and
Yeah.
I expect it too. I think like
Yeah.
every one of these, I'm just like, yes, they've got to
and
show us this.
and like you mentioned, I feel the Dodo bird of the airlines. That's gonna be one of them for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think because your next one was just like at least one new special character, and maybe 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of them's got to be whoever this Dodo Airlines person is. It's
Yes.
I mean, like it could always be Porter. It could always just be Porter, and the name of the airlines is just Dodo Airlines. But
Yes.
I would not put it past Nintendo to be like, let's bring dodos back. Like they're extinct now, but like if we're gonna have a magical place where little animals can talk to you and everything, might as well bring some species back
Yeah.
and have them make an appearance.
Yep.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think yours are probably spot on, I'd say, as far as all the predictions go.
Yeah.
And
Hopefully.
mine are too specific, so they're gonna be wrong.
Oh.
At least most of them. If I could, you never know. I could get lucky, but
Yeah.
really, I think as far as predictions go, Sergio, you're the one to listen to here. You got the name right already.
Yeah.
There's some other stuff you got right, but I think you've got a good track record for guessing this stuff.
Well, hopefully it doesn't end tomorrow.
Oh, right, right.
We'll see.
Oh man, I want that so bad. All right, so my predictions. Here we
Mm.
go. January 15th, 2020 is going to be a general direct that outlines the year for Nintendo. And I say this specifically because I've complained about how they've handled directs kind of the last couple years, where
Mhm.
I thought January 2017 was awesome. I thought what they did with like finally revealing the Switch console, finally talking about what it's doing, what games are coming, thought that was great. And
Yes.
they essentially like gave us what to expect during the year and then threw in surprises during it.
Yes. Mhm.
So I really like that aspect of them. I want them to continue that. But, there are things that I think would, of course, be included with this. There's Animal Crossing. There's the Xenoblade Chronicles kind of remaster that they're doing.
Mhm.
There's, there's the possibility of Metroid and I guess Bayonetta 3, so there's existing things that we know about. Oh, I almost forgot. Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, of course.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's like existing things that we know about. We don't know when they're coming, except for Animal Crossing. That's the only one with a date.
Yes.
So there's stuff that I think would show up, and then there's some surprises they could throw in. But even like throughout the year, there's still some more surprises they can do. But I want January 15th, 2020 to be that kind of outline to the year for Nintendo. And then, of course, they're going to show us Animal Crossing and promise a dedicated direct in February. And this February direct will take place on February 20th. That's exactly 1 month before New Horizons.
Oh.
It'll be at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Why, you ask? Well, it's because it's 11 a.m. in Japan, and Animal Crossing is huge for Japan. They're going to need to know about it during the day,
Nice.
But, like early in the morning would also work because they'd be at nighttime and at home and available to watch it. So
yeah.
I could be wrong on that one. But that's my guess right now. And I'm being specific just to be specific.
Nice.
So here's what the direct will cover. Animal Crossing dedicated direct. You're just like yours. It's going to cover the kind of beginning stuff. Arriving on your island, it's going to show off Dodo Airlines and kind of starting out your island. And then they're going to focus more outside of like the crafting and stuff. They're going to start focusing on growing your island. And some of the things they're going to talk about are the crafting benches. Like thus far, we've seen crafting benches in other places, but the only ones we've really seen used are the ones inside of Nook's shop.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So they're going to go more in depth with crafting benches and really like the process of crafting rather than actually collecting things and making stuff,
Mm-hmm.
They're going to show off some new crafts, like new recipes that we can get. They're going to show off decorating some more. And then from there, they're going to get into some new stuff like shops. And, of course, expanding your town. Eventually, you'll be able to pay Tom Nook to bring over some dirt from another place and make your island even bigger.
Oh, nice.
It'll take a week to make this
wow.
expansion. It's going to be a long-term thing. And, because it's got to be a long-term game.
Yeah.
So if you're going to upgrade your island, you got to put some muscle into it.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, I think there will also be some multiplayer stuff because you mentioned it before. They've promised that they're going to go over multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're going to go more in depth than we expect. I think they're going to cover same console multiplayer because it's the brand new thing, like being able to play on one console with everybody. That's cool.
Yes.
So it's going to talk about living with 8 people on your island, having 8 different homes on your island. I imagine some of them are going to offer, I guess, options where you can choose to have your own place or move in with somebody.
Oh, okay.
So that's prediction. Probably wrong.
Nice. Man, I would like that a lot.
Yeah, it would be really cool. It'd be like changing it up in some way, The other thing is that they're going to show, of course, the 4-player on the same console and show a bit of the mechanics, like swapping through items, kind of just like more mechanical things that we don't understand,
Mm-hmm.
Then from there, they're going to go into online play or, playing with the different console, even if it's still local. And there it's going to show off like the Dodo Airlines traveling features, like actually going somewhere using Dodo Airlines. And then they're going to go in depth on what you can do in the towns, showcasing like the games that you can play with 8 players even,
Yeah.
And then finally, the big finale to this whole direct is the reveal of an Animal Crossing themed Switch and Switch Lite model.
Oh.
Those are my predictions for the Animal Crossing Direct. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I know I did. But yeah, what do you think of these?
Oh, these are great. I do like how you went specific. You went a little more out there, and I kind of want to hold you to a bunch of these.
Yeah, I mean, definitely hold me to it.
Do you have any ideas? I'm guessing the Switch models they're gonna look the same, but they're just gonna be different, like the regular Switch and Switch Lite.
I think they're going to be a little different, actually, because the Joy-Con models that we've gotten so far, it's very rarely that we get a Joy-Con model where it's one color, you know? I actually walked into Best Buy the other day and I got the Splatoon Joy-Con, the pink and green, but I did notice they had just a green option there.
Yes.
And I was like, wait, they made just a green option? That's crazy. So I didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel like we're gonna get two different Joy-Cons, and for some reason my brain is leaning Timmy and Tommy on like one being Timmy, one being Tommy, or one being Tom Nook and the other being like Timmy and Tommy. But you know, like they have kind of what's the word for it? Their patterns on their shirts are reversed, I guess. Like the colors are reversed.
Oh,
And
yes.
so I could see it being that, you know, for the Joy-Con.
Yes.
Yeah, so one's like Tom Nook's shirt pattern, and the other is Timmy and Tommy's shirt pattern,
Right.
where the colors are just swapped in a slight way.
Yeah.
So that's my guess for like that, because I think the Joy-Con are going to be different. Whereas the Switch Lite design will probably be just like one full design. But I could even see them doing like two different designs for the Switch Lite. Ouch, my wallet. Yeah, I just see little flies, little dust pooping out of it right now. But yeah, I guess what are you thinking with that?
That sounds really good. I feel like if they do something, it's gonna be if it's for the Switch and the Switch Lite, it's probably gonna be the same design. So a whole pattern on the Switch Lite, and then you just get the same pattern for the Joy-Con on the regular Switch. I would be good with that. It would be, oh man, that would be very enticing to get a Switch Lite if it's very nice looking Animal Crossing themed.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's very tempting.
Yeah, just wait for the KK slider one.
Oh,
I want them. I was really disappointed with the new 3DS XL because it didn't have the changing faceplates. Like, if they made a changing backplate model of the Switch, that would be the go-to one. And I feel like it's possible with the Switch Lite, you know? Like to make that for the Switch Lite and just be able to make it your own design whenever you want. I would be obsessed with getting
yeah,
every single Animal Crossing pattern out there.
yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really I don't know. I think I'm confident. I'd say 95% confident that there will be a Nintendo Direct. And the 5% unconfident is just like we've been disappointed before by Nintendo. And so I can't help but think that they can always disappoint us again. You know, there's plenty of room for disappointment.
Yeah, and part of why I would agree with you on that is because I really expected a Luigi's Mansion centric direct, and there never was one. The game is great. The game came out. It sold really well, but I'm still surprised we didn't get a specific Luigi's Mansion direct. So I can see that. I can see that same thing happening to Animal Crossing, but I feel I'm with you. Like it's a very minor possibility.
Yeah, and I almost wonder if that was like situational because like June, the summer, like there was so much dedicated to showing off Luigi's Mansion 3, you know? And maybe they just considered like we put a lot of work into this live coverage here at E3. Let's take a little break. Let's just let people anticipate this game, you know?
Yeah.
Because it felt like a direct light year this past year. It just felt like there wasn't too much that Nintendo was trying to push, you know? So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened this year. It feels like we just got less directs in general, especially like general directs, you know?
Yeah.
So I and that's why I just really want the next year, 2020, to be different, where January is like, here's the setup, and then we're going to have directs throughout the year with little surprises, but we're going to go more in depth with what you already know, you know?
Yeah.
Because I want to go in depth with Animal Crossing. I really want to. So I think, regardless, I'm 95% confident still that there will be an Animal Crossing Direct, with, reasonable doubt.
Yeah, but I would really like that approach of showing, here's what's coming this year. We'll keep you posted on each game, and there'll be a few surprises. That just makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, and I feel like it just keeps people excited about the I guess the schedule,
Yeah.
Because Nintendo does this amazing thing where they made some consoles that garnered very little support from third parties, very little support from indie games, And so it turned them into this machine that can just pump out games so much faster than other places. And my example of this is always PlayStation. Yes, the quality of PlayStation games that do come out are very good. They're very high. A lot of people think so, at least, But they come out every 3 years or so. It takes a long time for their games to come out. Whereas this past year, you may complain about how many Nintendo games came out, but let's take a look at it. There was New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, which, arguably a port, not as hard. But even then, there was Yoshi, there was Super Mario Maker 2, Fire Emblem, Astral Chain, Daemon X Machina, Zelda, Ring Fit Adventure, Luigi's Mansion 3, Pokemon Sword. I stopped counting. There were just so many games that came out in a single year from Nintendo. And that's what every single year looks like for them.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up with. So it's a special thing that they were forced to do that, and it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm amazed. We're gonna have a big year this upcoming year. There's still a lot of big games that we know about. Animal Crossing, of course, has a release date, so I'm already happy with next year.
Yeah.
Regardless of what happens,
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've got the game that we've been waiting for, and I just want to see it and celebrate it and enjoy it. And I don't think there's much that's going to get in the way of that.
No, yeah, we have our game of the year already. By March, we already know which one it's going to be.
It's no question.
Yeah.
You don't even watch our Game of the Year videos next year because you already know what it is. You could watch it this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Let's go ahead and move into our final segment of the show, and that is our Haken's Islander Corner. For those of you who don't know, every week we ask our patrons a question and read their answers out loud here. This week's question was, what is one thing you want to know about New Horizons? So, of course, we're predicting our directs here, Sergio, and out of all the things we predicted and everything, what is the one thing that Nintendo, that you want them to tell you about this game?
The one thing I want to know the most is about island expansion. Is there a way to do it? How big does it get? Or is this it? And if this is it, how are the shops going to be laid out? That's what I'm the most curious about.
Yeah, I completely understand that. I'd say I'm similar to you with that, but I'll pick something different just so we can get two in for both of us. I'm going to say the one thing I really want to know about... This is a tough one. Because I want to know about a lot of things. So it's hard to pick. Oh man, I'm just gonna... You all are going to hate me for this one. I want to know about growing trees.
I was going to guess that.
Yeah, I know. I can't help it, but I need to make sure that my place has nice little cedar trees around my house,
Nice.
That's what I need. So I want to know about growing trees, and I guess if I wanted to... No, I'm sticking with that. Growing trees, tell me about it, Nintendo. I gotta know.
Nice.
So let's go ahead and go through our patrons' answers. Sergio will go back and forth as usual. Do you want to start?
Sure. Our first answer this week is by Indy Sarah, and they say, I really want to know if we will get a dedicated console. And we predicted some of that. I feel like if there is one, they're definitely going to save it for a direct announcement. Although, you know what? I mean, old Nintendo used to just reveal them like it used to be on the store ads the week they came out, but I guess now that Nintendo is a little more active on Twitter, I can see them doing that. You know, if it's very close to the release of the game, they might just save it for that. But I would love to see it on a direct announcement so that we can sort of prepare ourselves and our wallets.
Yeah, you're totally right. Like that's one thing that Nintendo has been doing very differently too. Like they I feel like they haven't been announcing like new console things on
Mhm.
directs. They've mostly been doing it via Twitter and like social media, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's a very different landscape that Nintendo's kind of navigating now, and they're using it well. I think they do a good job of hyping people up for what's coming out, but consoles are definitely one of those things that might not be in the direct and might just be a Twitter announcement. Some random weekday night, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also really hope that we get a dedicated console because it's Animal Crossing. We need one. It'd be the cutest
Yes.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So Medi said, I really want to know if holidays are back. And
Mm.
yes, this is a big one too, because like, though we've seen that the real time clock is making a return, though we've seen that seasons are coming back, you know, like one of the big things that makes Animal Crossing exciting is the holidays. And, you know,
Yes.
just going every day. It's like, you know, when you're a kid and you're just sitting in school and you're like, oh man, I'm so excited because next week is Thanksgiving. I only have to come half the week and the rest is off. And, you know, like it's an adventure.
Yeah.
It makes the month feel exciting to have something to look forward to.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, yeah, I agree. I want to see that.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be really nice, and it's important. So you know, the sooner they confirm, the better. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So Jillian Tuffo says, "Villagers. I'm really looking forward to seeing all the new characters and hopefully new species. Oh yes, this is a big one too. We need to see those as soon as possible.
Yes, I am surprised we haven't yet. Like you pointed
That's
it out
true.
a few podcasts ago, and I was like, "Dang, you're right. Where are these villagers? Like, there's got to
Yeah.
be some new stuff, you know." It's been so bare bones in that front so far.
Yeah. Hmm.
So Tab said, I want to know about the museum. Filling it is one of my favorite things to do in Animal Crossing. When will we see Blathers? How far into the game will I be before I can start donating to my museum? And where will the museum be?
Mm.
And this is huge too. Like, I agree with Tab. Like, this is one of my favorite things to do. Outside of paying off my home and expanding it, you know, I think the other big thing to work toward throughout the year is definitely catching bugs, fish, everything, and donating it.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely agree. And not knowing where the museum is gonna be from so early in the game, that's it's unusual. So I'm with you, Tab. We should know hopefully soon.
Yeah.
So Tara Steiner says, "Can I hug villagers?" Just kidding. I want to know how Amiibo will play into the game. Tara, I want both. I want to be able to hug the villagers if that's a possibility. Hopefully they tell us. But oh, Amiibo, it's a really good point. They're gonna have to talk about it because they did confirm that they're gonna work. So Nintendo, tell us how it's gonna work.
Yeah, and I mean, like the biggest thing here is that there are nearly 500 Animal Crossing amiibo, and there are crazy people out there. I don't know who they are, who bought them all. Definitely not me. It was me. But, you know, there's like people out there who have tons and tons of these things, and there are people out there who want these things. So re-release them, let us know what they do. You know, we want them. We want
Yeah.
them. So Dragonflame said, I want to know what the island equivalent of this game is. And no, not your home island, unless you can invite random foreigners to your own island somehow. uh,
That's right.
so this is a good point. Like, what he's referencing here is definitely Tortimer's Island, and I double checked with him. That's why I say definitely. But Tortimer's Island was the place where we could go and play mini games with people, you know? And so with there being 8 players in the game, I would expect there to be this type of feature in this new one, you know? So naturally wondering what that is good. And I need to know because I want to play multiplayer games with everybody on these islands. Like that's going to be one of the big draws to playing the game with people outside of like, you know, touring their town and getting to see all their designs and stuff, which is going to be much better than ever with this game with all that we can decorate. But after we're done with that, let us go play with each other.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, multiplayer is going to be important. So when they talk about multiplayer, I feel like they're going to show us where most of it is going to take place outside your island. So there's got to be a new location and they should talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So Jam says, will we get the observatory back? And honestly, I have no idea why we don't have it back yet, why it was removed in the first place. So hopefully we get it back. Hopefully, I feel like if it is back, they're going to talk about it whenever they talk about the game again.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, for me, I like the observatory. I like that we can design things. I found that I didn't do it too much, but I think more it hurts just seeing the downgrade in jobs for Celeste. I think putting her as just like the souvenir shop person in the second floor of the museum, that I don't know. She's better than that. She is an astronomer. She knows her stuff about the skies. Give her a job that she works, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
She got her degree in it. Don't make her just do some random stuff. So Mal said, I want to know if there's farming. Probably won't be, but a girl can dream. And okay, I was going to kind of like say this with my tree comment, but I like the idea of farming simply because we'll get a much bigger variety of just stuff that we can grow and decorate our town with, you know? I like the idea of being able to plant a pumpkin patch because there will be pumpkins that I can enjoy in my town during Halloween, you know? Yeah. So I do really think the farming would be a nice complement to the crafting, but also like a complement to being able to decorate outside. Because part of the fun of like decorating outside and kind of having all that freedom is other freedoms that come with that. Like Jackie and I, every spring, we work on our garden. We will tend it. We will make it something that can grow something. And we failed here and there throughout the years, but over time we've gotten better at it. And I do really enjoy being able to walk outside and see that stuff. And if I have that kind of thing in this Animal Crossing game, I think it's fun. I think it's cool to be able to grow new stuff and be able to enjoy them.
Yeah, and that would be like a really nice, considerably new and significant feature that they would say for closer to launch. That would be, that would be like big news type of announcement.
Yeah, and if it's not there, like 3 years down the line, I could see this being like the big Welcome Amiibo update feature that we get, you know?
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's always room for growth with the series, and I think just because you may not enjoy some features or anything, like there are definitely features that I ignore in Animal Crossing games. There are some that I don't use as much as other people, you know? And, but that's kind of the game. Like, you're free to choose what you want to do, what you want to play. So I don't think like adding in that way is going to hurt it at all. I think it'll just like give more people more benefits, you know?
Yes, definitely. And our last answer for this week is by Alpacachino or Mike. And they say, I really want to know how the shops are going to work. Are the same ones all coming back? Will there be any new ones? Will the shops be separate too or actually on the island? And to what capacity? Like an actual building or say a pop-up style kiosk? And if so, can we decide where they will go? Basically, I just want to go shopping in New Horizons already. That's a lot of good questions and a lot of unknowns. And For a games we do so much shopping. We do it every day, and it's a big part of coming back to the game daily. Not knowing these features, it's interesting. I feel like there's a reason why Nintendo is holding back so much information on shopping.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is like the bulk of the gameplay in the previous games really revolved around shopping. Like that was the big thing that you did to unlock different items because
Yes.
we don't view it as unlocks, but it kind of is. Like you earn
Yeah.
money and then you trade that money for some new features, some new things that you can use. So it's an interesting way that they're changing the game, but also, yeah, I want to know how shops are going to work. I want to know like where do they go? Where are they going to live? How are we going to place them? Who's going to
Yeah.
work them? And I will add another prediction because this reminded me of it. There is going to be a new shop. It's going to be run by a wallaby. It's going to be a backpack shop or, a bag shop. And we're going to learn that bags will expand our inventory while we're walking around.
Hopefully.
So
Yeah.
there you go. That's my final prediction for this direct. I hope you all enjoyed this show because it's going to be a really good one.
Yes.
But yeah, I will say, like, everybody is bringing up some really great things that they want to know about this game. And, they're, like, even reading through all the answers that we got on Patreon, like, there was such a good variety of what people wanted. Some of them definitely popped up more than once, too. Like, and if, just among our small group, there could already be duplicates, I imagine there are just, like, thousands of people out there who want to know any one of these things. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
there you go, Nintendo. Like, if you are still planning that direct, no problem. We've planned it for you. We have all of the concerns people have here too, so cover those. And it'll be a great show. We'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChewiePlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, have an episode dedicated to you, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chewie Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money toward great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube? The comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. What is one thing that you need to know about New Horizons? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chewie, Sergio, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.